Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Stream of Chaos. My name is James, and I will be the Game Master for today's game of Rivers of London, our second proper session. We've done our solo scenario, and we've done our first playthrough, as well as character creation of the Bookshops. Of Bookshops, the scenario that comes with the core book. You can see that I'm already deep into the bits of it, all the flickers at the top. But enough about me, let's introduce our fantastic cast who we'll be playing with today. Let's start with Art. Tell the people about yourself.
Hi. Sorry, Jim, I don't know what it was about that intro, but you just got me with the and the bookshops and stuff.
Bookshops! We're here! It's happening!
My name is Art. I will be playing the chaotic, manic pixie, not really dream, but I guess dream human.
Nightmare.
Pudding. Manic pixie nightmare human, Pudding. I have sourced an appropriate parka for Pudding, so I've retconned the fact that I think I mentioned that last week they wore a lot of black. I'm changing that. They actually wear a lot of color, a lot of it clashing with red hair. Pudding is a youngish, early 20s, relatively slight humanoid whose great etc. grandfather happens to have been the Fire of London. Like the actual fire, not and I'm joined today by a cast of microphones, so yeah.
Hopefully the apple falls extremely far from the tree. You're gonna watch it?
I was gonna be like, can I throw, please, Jim?
Well,
can I throw?
Throw away.
Can I throw to? I feel like this is gonna cause some confusion. Can I throw to road, please? I would like road.
Road. Okay, that's terrible. Let's throw to a particular road. The standard road we go to in order.
Yeah. Oh, except one of them I can actually see the word road, and the other I can't. Yeah. I'll throw to the German.
We are on Jackson.
Hi, I'm Jackson. I'm just trying out a new mic placement. I think it sounds pretty good. Let me know what you think. I'm Jackson, and I'm playing PC. Just deleted my name in the Roll20 because we were all changing into emojis. Patrick.
Patrick Lewis?
This is a character I know well. PC
calling that shit anymore.
Lewis. Database technician extraordinaire for the Metropolitan Police Service and apprentice wizard.
Really, still kind of weird that you led with the database management and not the wizard stuff, but hell,
you gotta build up. You gotta
Yeah.
build up
Okay.
to a crescendo. You gotta.
Finish on a strong beat.
That's right.
Dave, what about yourself?
G'day. I am Dave, and I am playing a dog. I'm playing Lucy. She's a criminal, and she's as set on finding lunch as she is set on solving this mystery. Maybe there'll be a walk involved. It's great.
Ghost or lunch?
It is. I will say it is such a good way to. It's such a fun character to play because you're like, I'm just here for the adventure. I'm here for when things kick off, and then in the meantime, I'll just try and figure out what kind of smells are happening in this scene. That's cool. I'm excited about that. Maybe we'll go for a walk later. This rules. It's so good.
And you're here for the pig's ears.
Yeah. Oh,
Pig's ears and the ham sandwiches and the everything else that
delicious.
Pudding still hasn't left in their backpack because we're only in the morning.
Oh, we're gonna have to do
So
a
much
reload.
food.
I think that a lot of players actually in TTRPGs tend to behave somewhat like a dog just wandering around looking for snacks. So as a character, it really, really works.
And weird smells.
Yes. Speaking of weird smells, I'm so sorry, Alex. It was the best possible one.
Hi, I'm Alex. I'm playing Barton Oslo, originally from Yeppoon in Queensland. Traveled a lot in his youth, landed in London, has always been a lifelong photographer, film photography, very much into the paranormal, and not necessarily surprised to find out it's all real and that magic's real, more just as expected, and has been dabbling ever since on the side from his accountancy gig, and is hopefully giving off a few dad vibes, maybe.
I think. Yeah, I also get the feeling that whereas I think PC Lewis was leading to something, introducing the wizardry last. I get the feeling that Barton does everything else so weirdly that the accountancy is just as odd as the magic.
Oh, yeah, the accountancy pays the bills. You know, that's a profession that's in high demand and has paid for a small but, you know, tidy flat in fairly central London for the last few decades. So, you know, it's about practicality.
Absolutely. Gotta be practical. Well, then, with that in mind, let's jump across to our actual game. But very first of all, just some quick things out of the way first. First of all, big thank you to Roll20 and to Sirenscape, tools which we use to improve our game. And remember, you can pick up Rivers of London from your friendly local game store or from Chaosium.com. Specifically, you can pick up Rivers of London, the tabletop role-playing game, from there. You can pick up Rivers of London, the book, from a lot more places.
Your friendly local bookstore.
And
Friendly
you
local
should.
bookstore.
You flub.
Exactly. In my case, it's the shelf behind me over there. But anyway, let's jump straight in. Last time...
We all pick up the books from that shelf over there?
Yeah,
We'll just
can
come
we-
over and...
Wait, are
no.
you now like stalking?
If you can find
See you in
his
30, Jim.
house and get through the
I've been
door.
genied. This is how I get trapped by fey promises. Anyway,
Yeah, this is how you get robbed.
same thing. So last time we met our cast of new characters, and they were given their very first kind of formal assignment by DCI Nightingale, and that was to go and take a look at a disturbance that seemed to have taken place, an invisible assault that happened overnight at a Stonewaters bookshop in Covent Gardens. Our investigators headed over after doing a bit of requisite research. They have interviewed the owner of the bookstore, who basically said that she wasn't there, she doesn't know what happened, but that her employee, a Warwick Anderson, claims to have been assaulted. Lucy, the dog, found some blood on the basement level downstairs and also detected a Vestigia lingering that sort of reeked of blood and offal. The others, Lewis and Barton, stayed behind and made sure that there were no basically lingering secrets about criminal history or magical history related to the whole event. Now, our investigators are gathered together. They've met with PC Singh outside the Cappuccino House to hand over basically Warwick Anderson. PC Singh has headed off, and the collection of you are now heading inside, bar for Lucy, who is going off on an adventure. I want to start things off by asking everybody, as you come in, you're going into a coffee shop, and this is a Main Street coffee shop, and it's full of all kinds of ridiculous drinks you can get, from the kind of deconstructed 5-part monstrosity that Warwick Anderson has sitting next to him, all the way to your...
Jim, I love you dearly. Do you mean Warwick?
Warwick.
means
Yes,
Warwick.
sorry. I
Actually, I'm like, I can tell that you're reading it phonetically, and I'm like, I think you mean Warwick.
I have a big problem with doing the phonetic reading. There's
No,
a
no,
bunch
no,
of
no.
words that come through.
You have a big problem with English place names.
Yes.
Is that it? Is that
That's
the secret?
everyone has a problem with that. Yeah, it's but I can tell you the secret in this case, if the last syllable starts with a W, then the W is silent, as in Dunwich, not Dunwich.
Okay.
Warwick.
I-
Not
don't-
Warwick.
I think the best one I've had was pronouncing banal on stream as banal.
Yeah.
good.
Can't be
I've
beat.
Banal
called-
with a B.
I was about to say, I swear that Warwick is also a name, but I think it's just I've called a lot of things Warwick, so...
And I
not
think
great.
most people are probably just too polite to correct you. Jackson, on the other hand.
Oh no, Art started it, but I was thinking it like 5 minutes ago.
highly
Don't
unlikely.
worry.
Mostly
I
because also
wasn't.
it's a name and people have that spelling, and it's like
true.
it's pronounced Warwick, and it's just nice to get people's names.
To all of the Warwicks out there, I apologize. That's a really bad one to try and mispronounce. I realize as I said it.
Apologize.
But anyway,
That's as good as banal.
continuing on. So
Yes,
I
we'll
want to
quit
hear
with
what
these
everybody's
banal
character's
apologies.
drink order is. What are you getting as you come into this place? And very quickly, I suppose, from you, Lucy, what's your go-to in terms of kind of dumpster to try and find to get a snack?
Yeah, 30 minutes of dog.
30 minutes of dog. I think. I'm trying to think. I reckon there's like a Macca's or something where the children in charge of producing food are a little lax with the dumpster security, and I can just worm my way in there. I also think as a criminal, I am capable of like getting through light locks. I don't think I'm lock picking them. I think I'm just like until they come off. So I think I've worked my way, and I know all the dumpsters around London that I can get in and out of.
Any of those really thin kind of padlocks, you can just sort of rattle the door around until it gets through. Makes sense.
Yeah, like
okay. So, having a wander, what about the rest of you? What's the order that goes through at the counter before you head over to talk to Warwick, if that is his real name?
Well, they can't make a bloody flat white to save their lives, can they? So I guess it's just a cup of tea.
Cup of tea, very sensible.
Also tea, because Patrick goes hard on the espressos when he needs to pull a long night pouring over case files in the Homes database. And so like he keeps coffee like as is, emergency fuel, so he doesn't build up a tolerance. So for now, yes, a Lady Grey.
The day he discovers Red Bull, we're all doomed. What about pudding?
Oh, I was like, this could go one of two ways. It's either like just a like long black coffee, but I actually think it is far more entertaining for this one. If it's like, because they kind of will get whatever the fuck is on the whim, and the whim right now is some kind of triple shot macchiato with like foam and like three or caramel flavor or hazelnut flavoring, hazelnut, and like 3 teaspoons of like sugar. They do not do sweetener. That's not their thing because they need a shitload of energy because they run warm.
I think just going down the pump line and just having and so it's just syrup and then hot milk on top.
Wait, what time of year is it?
Stir it around.
I was really hoping that it was going to be close to a holiday or some such. Technically, we do not have a specific date for the scenario. It is some point in a blustery kind of
Jackson's
late autumn.
figuring it out on his
I'm
other
gonna say
monitor.
we're around. We're not close enough that it's going to have any impact on the scenario, but we are in the period of time where a bunch of commercial companies have decided that Halloween's coming up, so it definitely is a pumpkin spice latte.
That makes sense. I think
That's
So like August.
yeah, in August. Also, I like pumpkins. They're orange, like me. So yes, that, but also very importantly is going to get some kind of like oat yogurt muesli bar thing, and probably like a muffin as well.
Okay.
For them, I think this one's going to be banana and choc chip. I think that's the muffin that they go for. So they get like 2 items of, and a banana bread.
Excellent. It's a whole feed. Okay. So you got to, also, I correct myself, Jackson. Lest you go off on a whole tangent. It is the canonical.
I was embarking.
The canonical period is between December 2012 and March 2013.
There you go. It's chilly.
It's
the winter menu.
Blustery, wintry
Peppermint
kind of thing.
I mean, I feel like then it's whatever the Christmas one is, and I feel like they would just use the same flavor profiles but call it something different.
You've mastered the marketing. At any rate, the collection of you gather up your drinks because it's almost a matter of politeness at this stage and head towards Warwick. As I mentioned, this guy is a little bit of a tragic hipster, and I say that with an enormous amount of love. He is
As a bunch of tragic hipsters.
He's a relatively slim guy, wears sort of this tweed jacket and a light shirt underneath. You could probably shuffle him around a few times with PC Lewis and get the two of them confused. He has relatively long hair, but it's more unkempt, as beyond like styled up into a man bun or anything like that. As I mentioned, he's got a bunch of tinctures and strange drinks that he's been enjoying while he waited for the collection of you. You spent a while at Stonewater's Bookshop, so he's been on the back foot. You can also see that he does have evidence of a head wound. It's not terrible. There's not gore and, pulled back skin or anything like that, but he's got quite a large plaster stuck over the side of his head. He's clearly been treated by professionals and is wearing the dressing at the minute. As the collection of you approach, he goes to stand. I throw to the collection of you for a second. Do you have an idea of how you're going to approach this, considering you have kept him waiting for a while? And I'll flag one last thing. PC Lewis, you did mention that as a police officer, you get a bonus
That's
die
right.
on social roles against law-abiding citizens. So you might factor that into your approach.
I will. I'll sit down and I'll apologize for keeping you waiting, Mr. Anderson. We'd very much like to talk about your experience last night. Last night?
Well, I have been waiting a time. He hesitates for a second. I'll get you to make a social roll since you're leading the charge here. And as established, you can have a bonus die with him.
Oh, fantastic. So he is a law-abiding citizen.
He is a law-abiding citizen.
Excellent.
Easiest
All
way
right.
to find out.
Starting out with a 21, which is not quite a half success. We've got social 30. So regular success, but I'll take the bonus die anyway.
Okay, fantastic.
I'll stick with my original answer, 21.
21. Okay, so you can see that he's clearly a little bit miffed. Maybe he'd even been thinking up a couple of snarky comments that he might have said, but something about having a collection of people come and quite seriously look at him, and he knows that you're all affiliated with the police. He seems to clam up a bit. In fact, he actually says, "Thank you for, I suppose, taking this seriously. I know that it seems strange, but I am convinced. I'm convinced that this is real, what I experience, and I'm glad that the authorities are here to listen and not having me sectioned or something like that."
No, sometimes weird stuff just happens. And, you know, it makes no sense to write them off until you understand what's actually going on. Like, sometimes weird stuff is weird. My accent's gone. I'll find it in a sec. We're good.
You are so right. So you see like a glee in his face that he seems to have found a kindred spirit, but then his eyes drift and they hit your large, sparkly, coffee order, and that seems to completely assassinate your character in his eyes for no reason at all apart from prejudice. Still,
I need a lot of energy to go. So this is like coffee 3 of the day, or like coffee 1 but tea 4, and it's just like, oh, I've dipped a little. Sugar time.
Yeah, very sensible. He is still a bit of a snob with this, but at any rate, he continues to speak. So where do we start?
I'd like to start from the top. How long have you been working at Stonewaters?
A couple of years now. I'd have to, I think 3, 4, maybe. It's a nice place. I get along well generally with Miss Jackson, even if she is. Well, it's the reality of running bookstores today. It's not exactly people don't read anymore,
Of course. And what is your position? Are you are you a manager? Are you a supervisor of some kind?
I guess I'm a bookseller. I never really deal with labels. He says it like somebody who has taken that as an identity.
I see.
You're pretty
That's his
sure
label, is his anti-label.
Exactly. You're pretty sure that he would be listed as a sales assistant or something like that.
Okay.
Although he seems, he's been there for a while, and they don't have. He is the other employee at the store.
Well, I was going to ask, how many employees are there?
It's just the two of us. Occasionally, we'll bring in a casual somebody over the busy periods, but no, at the moment it's been quiet, especially since we're redoing. We employ. We have a cleaner that comes through. We have sometimes hire a trained actor, someone who's studying theatre at one of the local universities to come through and read out some of the children's books, things like that. But yeah, me and Miss Jackson and I are the only people who will go through accounts and things like that.
I see.
Sound like you really like your job.
I do. I like books.
We had a brief chat with Miss Jackson, and she said, forgive me if this is incorrect, but she said you were leaving. You didn't want to work there anymore. Is that got to do with what happened?
He pauses for a long time, hands over towards one of the empty teacups, tosses it around his hand for a bit. Quite unprompted says, "Believe in things beyond the unseen."
Yep.
We believe there are some things that can't be explained by conventional means, and that's what we investigate.
I think his eyes flick towards you, Barton. He'd probably get a little bit of kindred spirit vibes, even though you're quite blunt. You have the character of somebody who might get written up at a local council meeting in my mind, as you know he did from your research. He nods enthusiastically, says,
My mum told me that I was related to a fire.
Oh no!
Ooh,
I'm pretty sure I gave pretty close to the actual official Folly answer in the books. You were just ruining it.
Well,
I don't know what the official answer is, and pudding is impulse driven. My
Yeah.
brain went, this would be a thing that I want to say right now,
Revs up
and I
on
was like,
sugar.
No,
this
yeah,
feels
it's
like
perfect.
a bad thing to do in this scene, and then went, no, that was the second thought I had. None of that. Do the first thing.
Do the first thing.
See, Patrick studied up. This is like his first kind of case is supervising, as has been assigned to, and he's following procedure. He knows all the official lines, and
very,
then
very sensible.
these two non-coms are just ruining it.
For sure.
Ruining it or making it better.
Exactly. What do
Let's
you-
bring the folly into the modern age where everybody's a bit of a wacko and believes in all sorts of stuff.
Well, speaking of all sorts of stuff, he nods enthusiastically and he says, "Your mother sounds very wise. I'm a water-aligned myself," and starts talking deeply about astrology for a couple of seconds, going through.
Yeah.
You can correct him or not, but you get the.
I said what I said to be like, hey, this is a thing that either you know what this means or you don't, and either way, it's gonna work. I'm quite happy to be like, oh, astrology. That's what I meant. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. You get the feeling that he would be pretty happy to dive into any conspiracy theory topic that you wanted to, but since you've displayed that you're pretty willing to listen, he'll be happy enough to tell you what's happened. After muttering a little bit about star signs, he says, I was working. I was down in
What
the
was
basement.
would you often work late at night? Was there a special reason?
Well, no, not normally. I keep...
We would have told you about the fact that they were they were moving stuff.
From
Yes,
last week, it was the
They were
rearranging.
rearranging in order to make the children's section more accessible so they could have more, because the children's section was downstairs and they're bringing it upstairs and moving the cookbooks and stuff downstairs. So it was the cookbooks that he got whacked over the head with or something. Possible.
Cookbooks were in transit more. The cookbooks are a hot product at the minute. Everybody online is selling them. Everybody with any clout is bringing out their own one. Yes, I was moving books in between, photography books from one side to the other, cookbooks around, basically shuffling a lot of exhibits to make sure that we had everything in the right place. And halfway through, I was downstairs and I'm struck in the side of the head. And when he says this, he raises sort of his hand towards his cheek, not towards the cut. He says it wasn't bad or anything, it was just a soft cover book. I was worried for a second, and I looked down, and it was a biography on a war journalist or something like that, a war photographer. I looked up on the shelves, thought it had fallen down. Then another one hits me. I realized someone must be in there with me. Spin around. The books were just coming off the shelves, firing straight towards me as if they were attracted by a magnet. I raised my hands to defend myself. And then the hardcover books started coming. Thick dust jackets, nice volumes, a particularly robust collection of tasteful nudes struck me in the side of the head, and that's when it gets all blurry.
Robust.
Wait, the nudes were oh, sorry, no.
The
You
book,
mean-
to be clear.
We're gonna need that for evidence. Hand it over.
Hush, dog, you're not here.
the dog turns up. The
dog turns up and is like-
The dog is drawn in by the tasteful dude. You asked me
so-
what my order was,
Were
Jim.
you-
That's it.
Yeah.
Were you struck mostly in the head, or was it more of a flurry of activity? Was it all over?
It was a flurry, and several missed me. They hit the wall around me. They hit the shelves. I was moving. The only one that did any damage We don't have a huge collection of big, heavy, thick volumes, at least not accessible at that time. Everything was mostly in piles. Things were smashed off. The only one that hit me was that particular book.
One large heavy one. That caused the injury that needed to be covered up.
That's right, yes.
Well,
I stagger over after that toward, we've got a phone downstairs. I managed to make a call to emergency services.
what did you? Was there a lot of blood? Was this a temple wound? It was one of those gushing ones, I suppose.
Very much so, and he starts to immediately describe the horror of the wound. Anyone here can make a read person check at this point.
Pudding's also seen the downstairs, and it wasn't that bad.
You have, yes.
Yeah, it was like a little bit of blood.
Oh well, I mean, if there's blood on the floor, if there is blood that got on the floor, that's not a small amount. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
I'm not so good at reading people, and I'm doing the talking. How about you
Oh, I
two?
don't. I take people at face value.
Make an observation.
It's
Not particularly. You can make an observation if you would just like to check this person out and get any particular
Yeah,
information about.
I think I'm just going
You
to
look
be
at his
observing
wound.
him.
look at his wound. Nice.
Okay. So, I mean, exactly
Hey.
what was said. You know head wounds bleed. This isn't a particularly bad head wound, but it's the kind of thing that, it's nasty. Anything where you get hit on the head, you've got a risk of concussion, and those cuts there, the stereotypical image is someone with a whole trail of blood down the side of their cheek, because just a little cut there can
It just
really
plops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You said that these books, there were piles of books and there were books on the shelves, and it was only the books on the shelves that were making their way towards you? Or were the books from the piles on the floor also moving?
He frowns for a second and tries to cast his head back. Everything moved. All of them. I swear at some points I would see them hover in the air for a moment before they flew towards me. I don't know.
This is an odd question. So, and if you don't remember, it's totally fine. This is clearly a very traumatic thing. If it's making you question going back to a job that you clearly really enjoy and are good at, I can imagine this is quite a stressful thing. Before the books moved towards you, was there any backwards movement at all? Like they were being prepared to be thrown, or was it a static hover that then moved directly towards you? We ask, you see, because different things have different abilities, and a person, God forbid, who was invisible would need to throw, and we would see that. Whereas if it was something more, as you say, magnetic, well, that might be a different situation we're dealing with.
That is a fantastic question. I am going to ask you to make a social check here. I think
Right.
that it's the kind of depth of questioning in terms of like details about magic, basically, that he might start to wig out a little.
Well,
You don't
I
want to
mean,
ruin this.
I got a 33 under 60. I'm
Nice.
good with people. I'm warm and
Yeah.
engaging, and people are drawn towards me
Like a
Thank
fire.
goodness.
like a fire. Do
no.
I need a hard for this,
No,
or is
you,
this
you
okay?
were totally fine. This was just making sure that he didn't. So you've couched, his ability to. So you've allowed him to talk about astrology and sort of gotten through that. You don't mind him theorizing about conspiracy theorist stuff, right? Now, you're not really able to. Sort of,
Like, there are certain conspiracies where I'm like, okay,
yep.
there's things that are weird about the world that are genuinely weird about the world, and then there are things like flat Earth theory where you just go, okay,
Warwick's big into aliens at the minute. And
we do, yep.
Tends to try and sort of describe everything through that. He's big into magnets. He describes a lot of movement where the books were sort of erratic. He says that, as it was mentioned, he swear they would sort of come up and hover and move, but they do not. He doesn't appear to be describing like a sort of throwing action. It wasn't if somebody was picking these things up one by one by one by one and piffing them at somebody. It was more of a chaotic.
more of a like telekinetic force or something to that, like something that was doing the rather than like a throw, like an individual throwing.
You're absolutely right. Yep.
You don't happen to remember what the last book you moved was before all of this started?
Well, I'd finished the children's section. Everything's up there now. I must have been setting up cookbooks, is what I must have been doing. I must have been in the process of putting them on the shelves.
Because the cookbooks were coming downstairs, and that's where you were when the attack took place.
Cookbooks were. So we moved the cookbook section downstairs, but we wanted them to take the place of the photography books because that's a more prime location downstairs. So I'd taken down 2 shelves, was in the process of swapping the 2 shelves after having moved one down from.
Mr. Anderson, how long had downstairs been the children's section?
A while. We started about a year ago, probably doing the readings. We've always had a children's section, but we bolstered it and made it more of an event because people were looking for that kind of community engagement. Miss Jackson's very clever at these marketing tactics. Personally, I feel that the worst part about book selling is the customers, but it must be done.
Are these sessions, were they popular?
Oh, well, quite. I mean, we don't exactly do roaring trade, but we get a dozen, sometimes up 15 people coming to listen.
But the children's section, it from the time that you started working here, the children's section has been downstairs. It ain't been it wasn't somewhere else, and then you moved it downstairs.
No, we might have bolstered it and made it into a larger thing about a year ago, but no, it's always been. That's right.
Oh, okay.
And
It does seem because you've been downstairs before of an evening, yes, before doing all of this.
Yes, I've had to work late before. That's right.
And you've never encountered anything like this before when putting books back on shelves or restocking or anything like that?
No, but planetary alignment means that the technology allowing this kind of transient effects might only have been possible recently.
Oh, by all means, I wouldn't discount that at all. It's more if we're considering all possibilities, whether it was extraterrestrial or not. It may in fact. We, as people doing an investigation, we do, as much as we would like to beeline to a specific solution, we do have to keep a bit of an open mind just in case something else comes up. I'm sure we will find, and I kind of give him a little bit of a wink, thing, like I'm sure you're on the money, but also going, but we do have to continue this line of questioning, just because of
formalities.
You
not
are formalities,
such an open mind, your brain falls out. I understand.
Yeah. And sort of go. That makes. It's just interesting the movement of the sections is all. Thank you.
Lewis is not one for confrontation. We'll make a note about getting certain members of the investigation team to review procedures around leading the witnesses during interviews, and then politely ask just one more question. If I could go back to the time where the books started moving, were there any other senses that you remember? Any other sensations, moving wind or any kind of sounds or tremors or feelings associated with the movement that you recall? I know it's difficult, but
mostly I remember a blinding pain in the side of my head. Is that? I'm sorry, that kind of hostility is uncalled for.
No, it's confronting. That's of course.
Also, not to lead, but I pointed out to putting the Vestigia, I got the sense of being hunted, the sort of
Oh, don't worry, I have.
Things. This man doesn't give any indication that he was aware of that.
And
because I think that was the.
To clarify beyond a one-liner, no, he got hit by books.
He didn't get the vibe,
and he has not had any of that. Now
he's vibeless.
You would all know just very quickly from the Vestigia detection kind of training that you've been doing, while regular people can sort of spontaneously, without formal education, learn to detect Vestigia, it is by no means a universal skill. And it is perfectly common for people to be in the presence of magic and have no idea about it.
And even if they do detect Vestigia, it's indistinguishable from the random neurons firing in their brains.
Very very much so.
You just think somebody sprayed deodorant you recognize in the room. Or something like that.
Last thing, if you don't mind, and this is entirely with your consent, of course, Mr. Anderson. Could I read your aura?
I love the question. You've succeeded 2 social rolls or against this guy already. I love it so much that I think he's completely fine.
Cool.
Yes, very much so.
Great. I'm just gonna get a little bit closer to you now, if that's all right. I promise I'm not gonna touch you, but I just need to get a bit closer to you. Essentially, I'm going. I know I need to get really close to someone to read Vestigia. I would like to sense Vestigia on this guy.
Totally. Give me a sense Vestigia roll. And could you describe what your process of sensing Vestigia looks like?
I think it's so I'm gonna trick this guy a little bit. If you'll allow it, I'm happy to spend some luck if I need to do that. Whether it's actually I'm gonna make my hands slightly warm. I'm not gonna do any specific, but I'm gonna warm them so that he feels this kind of slight radiation of warmth, which you could put down to someone just rubbing their hands together a lot and it being, but it's a little bit more than that. You could write it off, but if you're inclined to do conspiracy, you might think that all this is legit.
Yep.
And in kind of distracting him by doing that, I'm going to kind of let my eyes glaze a little bit, the real emerald shine that they have, that real depth of color kind of dulls a little bit, it goes a little bit more of a gray. And I'm kind of just I don't know, because unlike your average human, for someone who is a demimonde from birth, I think this is something that just I have been able to do my entire life. So it's I just open another sense. I just go,
It's a little more like Lucy, honestly. You're not necessarily distinguishing these things. You're not you might not have a specific tactic, which we might see Lewis or Oslo perform.
I just kind of open the eye that isn't there and the nose that's just slightly to the left, and the taste senses that are not in my mouth, but not in my mouth. I do a thing that I am very innately capable of doing or able to do, that is just, I turn on a bunch of senses that are one step to the left of reality.
Yep, totally makes sense.
And I distract the man from the fact that this is a slightly weird thing that happens with but my hands are toasty, and that must be what's going on. Did you want me to spend luck for the ability to do the warm hands thing?
No, I'm totally fine with that. It's a sense Vestigia roll. It's all kind of caught up in this thing, and he is amenable. So no social roll necessary as such. Please make your sense Vestigia. You may need to spend some luck on that though. We'll see how we go.
46 under 60.
46 under 60.
Do I need a heart, or are we good?
You are all good with that. So this is going. I'll give you a little. Here? Yeah. I'll give you a little bit of information, and also this is sort of just going to explain a little bit about how Vestigia works in Rivers of London, which is something that you are also all learning since this is your first real formal education thing. So, and Jackson, feel free to come in and correct me here. Last thing I want is to butcher the word.
I will.
Mr. Aranovich. But flesh, human bodies don't hold Vestigia very well. It tends to fade quite quickly. So you're not going to get much sense from this person. That said, going through and checking, having a kind of close sense feel, I don't know.
If this is a guy who is a tragic hipster, I suspect there is an item of outerwear that he's currently wearing that he wears every day.
I think so. Yeah, that would make sense.
He wears the same corduroy jacket with the patches on the sleeves. That's his go-to, or he has a scarf that he really likes wearing every day. And assuming there is no terrible blood stain on it, I'd like to propose that perhaps it's the item of clothing that he wears regularly that I get a sense of more than him.
That's a very good angle. Perhaps he has a piece of jewelry or something like that. At any rate, here's what you get. You get a very slight lingering sensation of the same Vestigia that you detected that Lucy led you to detect when you were inside Stonewater's bookshop. Beyond that, there is no Vestigia associated with this man. Between what was discovered by PC Lewis and Oslo and this new sense impression, you would be pretty sure that he is a witness. He is not a suspect.
Take him down.
Does anybody have any final questions? Otherwise, we will leave off the interview and jump across to our canine companion.
I'll just leave my card and say, "Well, if you remember everything else."
Okay, perfect. He agrees, and we'll head off pretty quickly.
Does he? Does he have like a takeaway coffee or tea or something that he's going with it? Like,
yeah, a bag. He buys a bag of beans.
I was gonna say if he's got like a coffee, I'll be like, oh, don't forget your tea, and give it to him hot.
Yeah,
Scalding hot.
You know,
Quite warm.
He picks it up, and you do see like a moment of it was this weird. He's a man who likes to think that he sees beyond, but then something just clicks and he's like, no, I was struck in the head. I'm the one who's wrong. And he quickly kind of nods to himself and heads out. That kind of
I just want to make sure that the nice man has a warm drink to take with him. I don't even think about the fact that that's weird.
No, very kind of you. Very kind indeed.
Like, dude, don't forget your drink. Also, it's toasty.
Perfectly done. So the collection of you will head outside then, and I'm sure you'll be rejoined by Lucy in just a second. But first of all, let's jump straight across. So, going for a wander through the supermarket. This is a great way to get adopted or fed.
Yeah, and if they try the first, they'll get bitten. So, good luck with that.
So I absolutely love you to just sort of give a bit of a description, give us an insight into Lucy's day, but in terms of relationship to specifically what's happening, I kind of see two angles. Are you basically trying to get a better sense of the neighborhood around? You know, you actually check, you're able to wander through things like little alleys, nearby streets. You might even really be able to get into one of those sort of back areas that supply the malls, those corridors that go in between areas.
Okay. Yeah, you're gonna hit me.
The only other thing I was going to say, I mentioned that there was like a basement window where you're going to be trying to look for odd points of ingress. Was the only other sort of
no, I'm not too logical about like where they're coming from. No, I got the sense that the Vestigia was tied to the bones of the building in some way, that it may be older than this more recent establishment. My rough sense of the canon is a lot of these spirits and things have existed from before, like, you know, the city was necessarily settled and things like that. And I think as an animal, I'm a little bit more in tune with the stuff that was around before the buildings, you know, like I can see it without necessarily seeing that the structure's there. So I think Lucy is having a whole little sub-adventure, which is just a series of short cuts of her sort of like chasing down a cat for a while, having a small snooze under a bench, then doggedly, pursuing the trail of, Jackson's not on board, of this Vestigia, to see if I can track any other impressions of it through the area. Do other buildings have the same thing? So I'm trying to, you know, go into other buildings and bolting, being chased out by the butcher as I try and get another impression of it.
Stone and concrete are the top materials for retaining Vestigia.
Okay, well, there's a lot of both around here,
Yeah.
I suspect.
Sure.
And once again, I'm kind of leaning on that, like, canine smell. I'm getting pretty close and schnorfing it.
Absolutely.
I'm not embarrassed to do so.
I'll get you to make a sense Vestigia check in just a second, but first of all, I want to ask you one thing. We talked a little bit about how a lot of Rivers of London is inspired by police procedurals and kind of lean into all of this different stuff. And there's so many different ways you could take the kind of animal, the scene from the perspective of a dog. You know, plenty of shows have done something similar. Do you sort of get out and you're suddenly in a world of animals? You turn down an alley and the sounds of people fade and it's all cats and rats and birds? Or is it more you sort of just like...
No, I'm a city dog. I think if this was shown through, it'd be, you know, one of those videos where they strap a GoPro to a dog and then they just go bounding through. So suddenly everything's from like this weird fisheye perspective of about hip height of me looking up at people and like, you know, avoiding the children trying to pat me and just going along, and then like me like you know, a kid's saying goodbye to its mum and I'm trying to get the apple out of the bag that it placed there, and then I'm darting back off and pursuing it. I'm not an animal person really, you know, like people in the city is kind of my terrain, which I acknowledge is completely kind of against what I just said about being more in tune with the not structure. But I think it's like I'm a city dog.
There's still a different like you have several million years of evolution on your side. You'll be able to go. So please make your your sense Vestigia check.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a few. I've also because they all go to 60, like I've got a number of applicable skills here. I've got observation, sense Vestigia, survival, and track. It's kind of a blending of all. I already rolled sense Vestigia. I'm kind of tempted to try and justify another one. It is really like, has anything else? It probably is Vestigia though.
I'm totally happy for you to go another one. I can flavor the information accordingly. Okay. I think that once you're leaning into the magic side of things, you're going to get like sense Vestigia is where that space kind of hovers.
That works, mate. That is a success.
Okay. So, scrounging around and wandering through the streets around, you check out a couple of the other stores as well as an alleyway behind. You do find some bin macas. It's fine. Fine. Nothing good. The seagulls didn't get to too much of it first. You are pretty quickly able to determine that the lingering scent of the Vestigia vanishes relatively quickly. The Cappuccino Lounge is only a couple of doors down from Stormwater's Bookshop, and it was already basically gone at that point. Pudding really only got a sense of it because they had tried to sense the lingering effect that had come from the bookshop itself. The building that you're hanging near seems to be the nexus and the source of all of it. Now, as you said, there's kind of like an older thing. How together is all of this? I mentioned that this was a bit of a weird-looking building. It's actually quite old. There's a big dome over the top of it. It might be heritage listed or something like that. As you wander around the outside, you are pretty sure that the concrete and brick walls, thank you, Jackson, are the actual borders of where this Vestigia seems to be. You can't really get much of a sense unless you were directly up against snuffling it.
That I absolutely am.
It's quite contained. And
so it's just this building, which has since been turned into a bookstore. And the sense of Vestigia I got was quite hostile, something sort of hunting, blood.
Spending more time with it now, there's some nuance to it. There is definitely, like, hunting might not be the best word. The direct sense.
I think that was mine too. Yeah, I don't think that's what you said.
Throwing out a few more things, and technically Vestigia have a couple of sort of distinct lines in them, but I'll throw some more terms in. These are all bits that could combine to make a picture. You definitely get that offal. You get a sense of panicked animal. You get the sounds of growling. You get you get yelling from people. And perhaps the only other thing is that, more specifically on the building, you had to guess it was coming from the basement.
Which is where we've been.
Yeah. I mean, the first floor is the bookshop. The bottom floor is the basement. Sorry, the bookshop spans over 2 floors. So you've been in both. But the Vestigia definitely seems stronger coming from down there.
Okay. I think as the others emerge and we regroup, Lucy is nose first up against the window that led down to the basement. And what I'd like to portray, the information I got, that the Vestigia seems to be just here and tied to the building. Also, this, like, the dome, this being old, basically I think we need to find out what this was before. And what Lucy's also trying to do at the moment is, does it go deeper than the basement? So I'm looking around for, are there grates leading down to sewers that might run nearby? Just like the train go underneath? Things like that.
That's a great question. Let's jump back to the full group at this point, I think. I will get a
that's me.
Luck check from everybody as well. At this point, because I actually didn't get to do it at the top of the session, which I should have, it's a luck advancement roll. So this actually happens at the top of every single session. You're encouraged to try your luck and use luck. So you roll a D100 and you want to, as per Call of Cthulhu, if you roll over, you are going to add a 1d10 to the roll. Now you work slightly differently, and I'm just
I was going to say, can you go above your max?
You can go above your max. Yes, that's right. Except you have a slightly different. Whereas the others can slowly build up towards their max. Your luck refreshes at the same time each day and hits your power. So you can't do your usual thing of banking a massive amount, but you do have a refreshing sort of stack of
I mean, you say
power.
I can't do a thing where I bank. My power's 80.
Okay.
I'm good.
You always bank.
I am a, like, even if
Wait.
those little moments of heating, like, coffees was taking, like, say, even the, like, 5 points or whatever, I think I've done that 5 times. I'd probably still be on, like, 60 luck at this point.
How does it work? You just have 80 luck every day.
Yeah.
It's if you pick to play a Fae, this is representative. It's the luck of the Demimon is the feature, and sorry, not a feature specifically. There are drawbacks to being Fae, and it's a
I
decision.
haven't seen them yet.
Yeah, they can come up.
There are technically a lot of rules that I do have to follow if they come up, and I cannot learn magic in the way that y'all can. I don't have magic points. What I have is luck. If I want to do anything, I burn through my luck.
Very good. Good luck with that.
Yeah, I'm excited.
So I failed my luck improvement roll, so you get 1d10. Is
No,
that the go?
I'm afraid you get nothing in that.
No,
case.
no.
What?
I think he's right. He gets
Sorry, I may
He
have
failed
made-
it,
I
isn't
may
he?
have
Rolled it
misread.
above.
Let me flip it back and double check.
Yeah, is it the fail or the success?
I
fail.
It's the fail.
If it's
Let's.
I
Sorry,
presume
yes,
it's-
you failed. Sorry, that was just a complete brain fart by me. I heard fail and just meant like you did not succeed to get it. Yes, if you fail, you get a D10.
D10, thank you very much.
if you're like me and you succeed, you get zip.
You get zip.
So that's
I am sorry.
that's just the word D10 right there in the chat for everybody. Just so you know what that looks like.
Those are the dice that we use. Just so you know, just as a reminder, those are the dice that we use.
True. All right, puts me back up to 64.
Okay.
And now you want a luck check from me, from everyone.
Sorry, the luck check was what I was requesting. I said I want to quickly refresh that now as you all get together. So
Because
Also
I just
for
rolled a
the
7.
good
Wasted.
roll. I'm afraid not useful here. I throw
Thank you.
over the collection of you now. That interview would have taken probably about another hour, which means you were getting towards the kind of mid-afternoon at this point. The area is still going to be busy for a while, and then everything will close up. You've got some information, you've got some leads. You have always the option of returning to the folly and doing research, and you always have the option, you really need to, of going to Nightingale and saying, "We're stuck. Please help."
No.
Absolutely not.
I'm a big boy.
Absolutely not.
I mean,
What did we hear? Did the
That man gives me the willies.
I think that we're looking for. Hang on, where's my accent gone? I think that we're looking for something that's potentially cares about innocence and children, if not a child itself.
Well, yeah, I mean, all of that sounded like a kid's tantrum, right? They're moving the kids
Kinda,
section
yeah.
and moving the fun reading nights away from this spot, and it sounds like someone's chucking a temper tantrum in response to that.
But just quite interesting that the Vestigia is so.
Yeah,
You know-
the Vestigia is so aggressive.
Yeah, so I think if we've got some stuff to go on in terms of looking up, I know, PC Lewis, you're more of the expert on the on all of the official lines of inquiry. Does the Folly have like here's a bunch of Vestigia and what they mean kind of thing?
Jim, can I borrow one quick retcon question?
Absolutely.
When's the next storybook event land?
Next Storytime event would be in a couple of days. You are not
Okay.
either just after or just
Okay.
before at this
Very
point.
good.
I feel like the more important thing is it definitely sounds. I think the story time's an important aspect, but I think it's the moving of section.
It's moving it out, or
Right,
yeah,
right.
it's moving what
Yes.
was down there out.
Unfortunately, my understanding is Vestigia is, it's even more diverse than the spectrum of colors. Just as an art academy wouldn't have a list of colors and what they signify. It would be very difficult to
Well, no,
catalog
they do.
Vestigia in the same way.
I thought, but
No, they
don't
distinctly do, man.
I just mean it's very much a unique kind of case by case basis we're looking for. If you say you have a sense of being hunted, is that what I heard?
More like
Yeah.
awful blood, nastiness. I'll
There
try
was
and
an
lead you to
overall
the window so you can get a note of it at least.
a sense of unease and a bit of, offal and blood and yeah, not if I remember correctly, Jim, was it like a bit of a rise of tension and terror that wasn't like thrill of hunt as much as fear of capture? Or
It's like
fear of-
abattoir, not butcher shop.
I'm just going to hit you with everything that you've come through again. So the full
I would love
scope
that.
of it. The hardest thing immediately is that you got the smell of it was blood, but no, this isn't just blood. There is a metallic undertone that suggests some kind of offal. There is also a sense of panic and terror here. Now, more detailed, you got growling, yelling. You got a sense of hostility and some kind of like almost combativeness. You got, believe that's everything. Throwing in one more, you can probably get like there's a sweat in the air, leading more into the scent, and also probably food, I think too, but not in sort of a butcher shop kind of sense, like just like sort of the heavy. I think probably the smell of beer it comes through as well.
Wild.
Okay.
So
That's
we're
quite a
either
lot.
dealing with a small child's tantrum, or we're dealing with Vikings.
From Lucy's perspective, she hasn't gotten any child vibes. I think I'm treating it as because it's interesting because I don't get the book element of it. I don't understand that. So from what I've seen, it's a person attacked in a sort of enclosed environment by something fairly hostile.
About the
I
shape.
don't
Oh,
know
the
that.
hostility is unquestionable.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
I
interesting the perspectives because there's some clues I can't act on really.
Even then, Mr. Anderson was obviously, seriously injured, enough to draw blood, but he was only books being thrown at him. I wonder if there was anything else in the area that could have been more lethal or, more violent. If there were other kind of more,
I went downstairs.
more
wasn't
harmful
there?
options that the entity had and chose not to. That would also
You're
be a
right.
point of
More
our
of a scaring
information.
off than a killing.
Quite.
More of a tantrum.
The bookshop's being opened once more. Is that right?
The bookshop
Yeah,
is
it's open now.
It opens back up. Yeah, so you can get back inside if you would like. Otherwise, I can tell you sort of the casual things you might have seen down there.
I'd be curious to stop in one more time just to see what they're doing now, so that we know, what's going to be happening next.
Okay.
They are opening up, and what they're doing with the sections now, and like now the what's her name?
Miss Jackson.
Miss Jackson.
Oh, that's me. That's my name. I had it first. Yeah. What exactly she's been up to now that it's opened up, and it'd be interesting to see
Saffron.
what's happening next. Saffron.
Ms. Saffron Jackson.
And I mean, we're assuming it's the things that are being moved out of the basement, but he did say he just started moving the cookbooks in.
That's true. That's very true. I didn't, the whole awful thing.
Maybe someone's mad about being down in the basement.
That's a good thought. So I take it
As
then
in, you
that
think there's someone in the books?
Eh?
I'm going to take it that the collection of you head back over to the bookstore again. You can slip inside without much difficulty.
I'm gonna come with for the moment. I don't want to extricate myself. But can I keep tabs on where the interviewee is going if he heads home or anything? Because I'm thinking I might tail him. Haha, tail. Another pun. Being a dog is great. I might tail him if it looks like he's heading off, because I won't be able to do libraries and things.
Okay. No, totally. That makes perfect sense. I'll say quickly, as you see them going in, then you stop for just a moment as the door opens, and something that I mentioned at the very closing moments of last week's episode. You all do catch for a second that bluey cutout again. I believe you saw, Lucy, a sense of just sort of like a moment, Wizard's eyes following you was very Mona Lisa kind of style. Right now, it sits flat, uninteresting.
I'm gonna head to that on second thought.
Okay. All right. So you hesitate. You look up towards. You do see that Warwick is heading off, but you're a good tracker. You'll be able to catch up with a roll. So you head in and snuffle straight over towards that thing. Meanwhile, the rest of you step inside. The bookshop is relatively quiet. You know, there's maybe 3 or 4 people wandering around, occasionally checking out things. Miss Jackson standing by the counter, and she'll give you all a nod. She does seem a little like she's in business. She can't talk right now, kind of thing. You can see that downstairs they've cleaned up the blood. Again, a splattering. It really was. He was bleeding from the head and fell. And they've put a little sort of like accident wet floor kind of thing around some of the empty shelves, where they have piled them up as neatly as possible to create a sense that, you know, a disaster didn't just happen here.
I've already gone downstairs and spoken to Miss Jackson, so may I follow behind Lucy to give scritches and snacks and also be like, what you looking at?
Yeah. The two of you head over towards the bluey cutout. We'll come back to the two of you in a second, but first of all, Lewis and Oslo, what's your target? What are the wizards doing?
Wizard gang.
Downstairs, maybe? We haven't looked
As
downstairs
opposed
yet.
to the
Neither of us have looked-
non-humanoids.
Yeah. Neither of us have looked downstairs yet,
things.
so that might be...
I think it's not such a bad thing to get more eyes on every part of the building.
Okay, if the two of you want to head downstairs, then you absolutely can. So, nodding at Miss Jackson, a very brief word explains that you're just having a look around, and she was, as long as you don't disturb anybody, she's happy for you to be there. So you can head down the winding staircase until you arrive at the bottom floor. It's as I've described. A kind of rows of books. It's not dingy because it's been quite well maintained, put together, cleaned, and decorated. But were this to be any other kind of building, you know, this wouldn't be a particularly nice sort of spot. If you were a kind of a MacGyver type, you could definitely figure out some way to get some sort of lethal weapon here. But at first glance, heavy books seem like, you know, grab a club. It's that or a chair. What are the two of you going to do?
Shelves? How are the shelves?
Yeah.
What kind of shelves are they? Metal shelves? They're attached? They screwed together?
They're wooden shelves.
Wooden shelves?
That have been put. They look really, really old and nice. But when you get to them, you realize it's a wood veneer. They are bolted in. In sort of like a quick dismantling IKEA sort of strategy.
Yep.
The perfect level of like faux antique.
Okay.
I think I would like to take out the Polaroid camera that I carry and get me a twofer and take a photo, but you know, this camera it only works ISO 100, so I need a bit of a light source to make it really shine, and I might cast flashbulb, do some magic.
Okay.
And see what happens when we do magic in the basement for one thing, and then also get a picky.
All right, fantastic. So are you?
Nobody's done spells yet. So let's
do some wizard shit.
Sounds very sensible. Now I assume you're taking
about wizard shit.
The average precautions in terms of getting, like, you wait until you get a clean moment. So you're not going to do this in front of people necessarily.
Well, I'm gonna wait until it's empty. I'm just gonna have my camera out.
Yep. At the end of the day, it is just a flash. And with sort of a minor bit of control, you could pass this off. And the second thing is you probably hand over any electronics you have to PC Lewis and just kind of step away for a second. This is going to...
I've still got like one of those Nokia 3310 things, and I just like pop the battery out, just like take the back off and battery comes out.
Battery out, very sensible. Slip it in, and then you can take a photograph. So...
But I will give like a nod to Patrick first and just be like, this is what I'm doing.
Best to alert. You don't quite have to do a full paperwork thing whenever you cast a spell, but
I just want to see if anything reacts to it.
Very sensible. So flashbulb is a level. Just double checking.
Level 1.
It's a first order spell. Yes.
It's the one that I've got my big ticky in.
Exactly. So if you are specialized in it, this is a controlled situation then, right? Which means that you do not need to make a roll to cast this, and you are not boosting it in any way. It's just sort of a standard execution of the spell. you'll deduct a single point, a single magic point, and tell me
Great.
what your
I
casting looks
did
like.
not fill my magic points in because I did not get to that point in character creation.
That is
What are
quite
they based
alright.
off?
They're based on your power
1/5 of your power.
Oh, easy. Right.
as per
Thank you.
BRP.
No, sorry, 1/10 of your power. No.
Great.
Wait. No,
Wait.
1/5.
1/5.
No, I don't know. I missed that as well. I was
Some
looking at
it's
movement.
fraction of
I'm
power
double-checking.
is relevance.
Well, I'm just gonna put -1 in that bit, and we'll work that out later.
Yeah,
I mean, I assume I've got more than one. Let's just leave
She'll
it
be
at that.
right.
I assume it's 1/5 power.
1/5 of your power, yeah.
Sweet.
Excellent.
It'd be a lot otherwise.
And this is one of those spells that, because it's my thing, I can hide it very, very well. People don't register it as a magic thing because I've got the camera up. I've probably even got like a little, like, something that could look like I've just got my hand out, and you'd have to be paying so much attention to miss that there's actually not anything in my hand at the top of the camera where a flash would be when I fire it off and hit the shutter button at the same time. So it just looks like a camera with a flash going off.
I love that.
Yep, that makes total
It's
sense.
subtle as hell.
Now, typically, the flag that you can use flash bulb as like basically a flashbang grenade in combat, but this is basically a less, it's
Yeah.
the chillest ever. There's still quite a loud crack, as if you were using the old
Yeah.
an old
Well,
camera, which you are.
And you know what? This is an old camera, and this is exactly the kind of flash that you would expect for a camera like this.
100%.
So,
So why don't you make an observation roll as you do this for me?
yeah, let's do that. Woohoo, yes, success.
Okay. So you crack off the picture, and there's this loud flash, and you'll have to. I defer to you here on how cameras work. Do you have to go and develop this now? Is this
No,
a
no, no,
dark room
no.
situation?
This is my. You have seen this camera, Jim. I'm
Oh,
gonna
it's
use
the
the
one that-
SX70
yeah.
land camera. The SX70 land camera. I have one of these, so I know how they work.
So this is a print on demand.
It is a big square Polaroid 600
Okay. And so
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
that I
actually
can just put in my pocket and let it develop.
you have time for this. You get the picture and go. Now, as to the actual photograph, the magic expended rather. You're down there too, PC Lewis. Can I get you to make a sense Vestigia check as this happens?
Excellent. I would love to. Ooh, I guess this is worth 3 points of luck, I would think. I got heaps. I got heaps of luck. I got luck to spare.
He's a
3 points
loser.
of luck. I will sense every vestigium.
Okay, perfect. As a Newtonian practitioner, that one of the ways that you get taught to try and encourage spirits and magical creatures to come forward
Is to cast a light.
That's exactly right. And here now,
Is the shop open?
the shop is open.
It's
but
late
also-
afternoon, though.
This is not a sustained effort as well. This is one of those things where this is a quick spell and it's gone. But you have a good sense of the Vestigia by now. As you get down here, as the spell is cast, you definitely feel a bolstering. With a regular success, that's all you kind of get. There is a response here, and the Vestigia tingles slightly. Magic has been cast, and whatever that source is seems to know about it. But you were kind of focused on the actual casting and things like that, but you can be brought up to date in just a second.
I think that's kind of the goal of doing it when it's busy, is that an intelligent entity using magic is not gonna pop out and make a fuss right now, but it is gonna react, and we are gonna know it's here, which means that we might get something that we can then research further and come back at a quieter
All
time to
right.
defeat.
We'll do okay, maybe a little bit. I like that. Let's see if anything happens if I do something real subtle. Just a little
You wanna
wear
try
light
a
under
little
the
more?
jacket. Just a little bit, but not too much.
Okay.
I'm more inclined to kind of do this. You know what? the proper procedure would be to do this, in controlled circumstances, like, when the shop's closed and we can set things up. But maybe
I've
Lewis
got a
is just
bit.
so keen to get
This is
things
time,
started.
You're out of the
Yeah,
spreadsheets
maybe-
in the real world.
Maybe
You
he
can't
just
afford
wants
this.
results.
And Barton's giving you a look. Barton's definitely giving you a look that's like,
Button.
come on, son.
All right, make a
us
magic.
what you got.
Is this something that you have you've mastered this spell?
Actually, yes, I have mastered it, which means I can alter the wavelength of the wear light to make it more invisible to people, but still visible to entities that feed on it.
Excellent. A totally valid thing. Is that boosting the spell technically?
I believe it was. I read
So
this
in
last
which
week.
case you do need to still make a magic roll is the point, which means we have our first risk
Right.
of hyperthermaturgical degradation. I'm so
Hell
excited.
yeah.
Oh,
make-
I
did
didn't
you
read
just say to
those
me?
rules.
It's all fine. Nothing bad happens. Make a magic
Super
check for me,
color.
please. It's in controlled circumstances. So you just roll as per normal.
Do I need to spend 2 magic points for this because I'm modifying it? Sure.
You will need to spend an additional
I think
magic
so.
point. That's right. Yes.
Yep. Great. All right. So 14 magic points and a magic skill roll.
And let me just, I think I might have stumbled over a rule there, so just to quickly clarify, you cannot boost a unmastered spell. So
Yes.
you now that you are boosting this, you're using finesse basically.
But 8.
Oh,
Oh,
I don't think
well
this game has
done.
extreme
Holy
successes,
shit.
but that is
low
pretty
number.
good.
it's damn good. No, it's
Nicely
smooth.
done.
You hold out your hand and the light jettisons up
What?
from the perspective of everybody else. Sorry, Art?
I was gonna say, as someone who's Fae, do I notice
Stop hissing.
anything about this?
Well,
Like, is this a thing that I can sense at all that's happening as like either Fae or as like I mean, I'm not a magic user, so specifically this is because I'm Fae, but like, can I tell?
Well,
Even though I'm like upstairs, am I like,
yeah, so
I
absolutely.
just
and
smelt something weird?
We're going to jump across the two of you now, actually, before we resolve what happens to the light. But the most critical thing, the most obvious, yes, you can sense magic being cast as something that people are able to do. And Lucy, same thing. You will all get, though, another sense. And since you both cast a spell, you'll both get a sense of Vestigia. So can I quickly ask...
You mean Signare?
Sorry, Signare. Thank you very much. Of Signare.
Wait, what's the difference?
Vestigia.
Signare. I literally just looked it up because I was like, oh, Demimon don't have Signare. Vestigia is what is left over by magic. Signare is specifically the signature left by a specific practitioner of Newtonian magic as part of their spellcasting. So, like, the Vestigia can tell you kind of like any type of magic. So like as a demimond, if I do something, I would potentially leave Vestigia.
it's a
But
what
as a practitioner, you leave Signare, and Signare are the ones that are like, I think Vestigia, I was confusing the two, which is why I looked it up. Vestigia is not specific to the person casting, it's specific to what is cast and what's happening. Signare is specific to the person casting. So if you know what someone's Signare is, you can tell who's done the casting based on that knowledge, whereas just from Vestigia, you can't tell who's cast something, but you can tell what might have been cast. Does that make
That's
sense?
true.
Signare is special wizard signature. It's mostly also kind of a wizard thing, although since the collection of you have been trained within the Follow, you'll have learnt to recognize each other's. It is also identifiable to the point that, you know, if you ever sort of came across somebody who might have tangled with Nightingale at some point, try and avoid that. You cast, they would immediately be able to sense. They would be able to sense the Signare through exactly, and schools of magic and traditions all sort of intermingle. And even then, you could get like. We mentioned the character creation session. There's like subgroups of other British wizards. All of them would still have a unifying sort of aspect of British wizardry.
It's like an accent.
Yeah.
That's so funny. It's like
Yeah, your
you know,
magic
it's like,
has-
do French dogs sound French like to another dog, and it's
What?
like your wizard sounds British as an derogatory.
Yeah. So yeah, I think for from me, we've decided we
Bogan
sort of
magic.
decided that there was like a common thing that would happen for my magic, but technically I don't have Signare when I cast. So like
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
So the one thing I just want to clarify then. So what I got was a sense of Vestigia. So I do not have the signature of the entity that did it. And also pointedly, do I then, if I got no Signare, do I know that it wasn't a wizard that did it? This was a goblin of some form.
You are absolutely right. So just to clarify,
or a spirit, or just any demimond.
They're all categories of goblins.
We will jump up to the two of you in just a second. But yes, the fact that you have not gotten any Signare suggests there is no wizard involved in this. And again, if having a wizard involved in something like this would be sort of an escalation of seriousness, because if there is another wizard around, they are either a unlicensed hedge wizard, which is
magic.
Exactly, which is more a danger to them because they might be about to give themselves.
Well, it also means like this. It means Chuckles didn't accidentally cast a spell and impale himself. Like this was something that did it. Yeah.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
I think I confirmed that by like doing the aura reading as well, where it was like this person has no Signare, has no magic, has nothing on them.
Coming up, the two of you, meanwhile, you two head up to the cutout. It is.
I think Lucy's like you just mentioned, you're like just gonna follow along Lucy, see what she's doing. She's doing that thing where at first you don't realize how like focused in on something. It just looks like she's standing still, and then you realize it's the like dog's got a sense of like there's someone else at the park, and then it's not one of the children. It's this little like cutout poster of Bluey, and Lucy's doing full like focused in on it, and then like creep towards it, and genuinely looks as though she's about to lunge at it. Like
Lucy
I'm gonna get my intent is get close, and if it blinks or anything, or even if I just get like the kind of get the zoomies a bit, I'm gonna lunge forward, grab it, and bolt out of the thing. It's very like if this was a prized possession, you'd be going no.
Whereas Pudding is fully like a couple steps behind Lucy, noticing this and going, "Oh, something's wrong with the dog."
And I'm very curious to see if this dog because I imagine I'm stalking towards this very slowly as the magic is cast downstairs.
I would be
reaction.
Again, Pudding is 100% on board with the chaos of like Lucy acting as a dog. So Pudding, I think, like kind of sees what's happening, looks behind them to where Miss Jackson is, and just ever so slightly steps between Lucy and Miss Jackson's eye line.
This is
and just like stands there looking around at the place, like kind of eyeballing books and eating the banana muffin.
I absolutely love it.
Looking as innocent as the day they were born.
So this is still kind of an area where there are people. So we're actually we'll do a lot of things at once then, because this could be we get a little interesting.
Yay.
To set the stakes again, two of you standing in front on the top floor in front of this cutout, and downstairs, the two of you having cast these spells and just launched. What happens is as the two of you approach, nothing. Your hackles are raised. You begin to move towards it. Then you get a Signare. Barton, do you want to describe your Signare?
Yeah, you get the faint at first but rising buzz of a fluorescent light kind of on the blank. You get the smell of a strong cup of tea and just a sensation of sheets of thick paper hanging in the dark, and the sense of movement.
Okay, absolutely fantastic. With that,
goes from absent-mindedly eating to absent-mindedly eating while staring at the stairs downstairs, going, okay.
With that, the Vestigia sense picks up for all of you. I described it became more active downstairs. It becomes more active upstairs. Now, at this point, you suspected it was coming from the basement, Lucy. And as you're gazing at this thing and you feel the Vestigia start to rise, you can feel it emanating up the stairs. This cutout in front of you is dead. It's uninteresting. There is nothing here at the minute, but your eyes are on it for just long enough that when the second Signare comes forward, PC Lewis.
Yes, there is The sound of a clock-like typewriter tapping, the smell of time, and a sense of loneliness.
Beautiful.
Patrick.
Aww.
At that point,
Hey, it's back!
it's beautiful.
Except
Full
instead of
screen.
it being a 1,000-yard PTSD stare, it's just sad.
It's lonely. So funny.
At that point, the Vestigia suddenly awakens more. You put this into the air and you feel kind of a rustling disturbance downstairs, and then Lucy, you feel that sense of Vestigia basically rush up. There is it comes out of the basement as if there is like a wind or a spectral presence that goes whipping up and disperses throughout the top floor of the bookstore. You see the bluey cutout suddenly fall to one side. There's no gust of wind apart from the spectral one that I mentioned, but it tumbles backwards and it catches, of the bored look of one of the patrons who has detected nothing of this, but then spots you growling kind of quite loudly at a fallen dog and sort of, a little amused, a little...
Well, hang on. So we get the sense that there's something present here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Like something tragic.
This is all seconds off.
Not
soon as
present in the cutout, just present in the room?
Yes, as it comes up into the room, you feel the cutout falls.
As the presence comes in and I was already on like high tension. I lunged for the poster and begin like the booming bark of a dog that's caught the scent of something. And I'm in dog. Like, I don't think this thing understands English necessarily, so I think dog makes just as much sense. Basically yelling, "Come out here and show yourself, you coward. Come on, square up, I'll have at you." But to, I think, the patrons, it really looks like I'm just taking it out on this bluey poster as I bring it to the ground.
I love it. Pudding, is there an immediate reaction?
I mean, I know that no one in here has sensed anything, so, I might, make a show of being like, "Lucy, no! Doug, away from the poster. I know you smelled something, sweet pea, but we can't do anything about it. Get away! No! Bad dog!"
Bad dog.
I'm going to, I am doing it in a tone that I think Lucy would hopefully recognize as in no way am I chastising this dog at all. And I will go to put a hand on her collar. I do not grab it. I do not pull it because again, I'm I know what you want, but this is important that you listen to me right now because we need to it's you're a good dog, but we need to pretend that this is not okay. And maybe we deal with this a slightly different way. It's a complex thing but some dogs are good with that.
Well, the biggest issue is that Lucy's a big ass dog, and this is quite a scary thing. And the patrons sort of jump, and Miss Jackson barks.
I've got kind of two, my also is a two-phase thing. I'm hoping this gets people out of the basement too and gives the two downstairs some distraction time, and also my possibly the spirit manifests. Once I get the impression being, I'm gonna grab the poster and bolt back out the way I came. But could I maybe ask for a social roll to try and antagonize the spirit into manifesting or anything like that, or is this kind of just beyond the scope of
a social role is totally valid here. What I'm getting, by the way, just quickly, just a poster cutout. I'm literally picturing a cardboard sort of
yes sorry, that's what I was thinking. I just said the wrong name.
Excellent.
The wrong word.
You can make a social roll, absolutely. I'll get you to make a social roll too, Elaine. I think just in terms of putting in terms of I've got the full names.
No, you're fine. For anyone who hasn't already worked out that Pudding's first name is a pun, you're welcome.
So if you make social roll too, downstairs. Yeah. As this happens, you get that wear light up, right?
Sure do.
Photo in your jacket, and as this happens, there is a disturbance. But what you do not feel, make sure you reduce your magic points accordingly. By the way, what you do not feel is something seize on and begin to feed on this. If this was a ghost, if this was a spirit, and if this was of a wide variety of individual things, you would expect the magical fuel that you're putting in the air, which is basically the sustenance for these creatures, to have immediately been, soaked up. It's like putting a battery in front of somebody. You don't feel like that's happened here. You feel like your magic use has, if anything, just woken it up, and it's entirely disinterested in what you've done, apart from you having just sort of been loud, for want of a better word. You both feel this movement as the books, sort of nicely put piles, jostle just a little bit. The barking upstairs does cause patrons to rush out, which means you two are left alone in the basement for just a moment, if you would like. There is a storeroom at the back, if you would like to dart towards that, but you are pretty sure, based on the check through, that you've done it is just a storeroom, just in case you want a private area.
I'd just like to glance at the Polaroid as just before we hear the barking start. So while Patrick's casting his spell and before this all goes to hell, I'd kind of want to have a look at how my Polaroid's developing and see if there's anything weird on it.
I love it. I think I might actually get you. I know it's not a technical spell. I might still get you to make a magic check here, just because I like the idea of you imbuing some kind of magical practice into this, just in a sort of narrative sense. So,
yes, can doodle.
The suspense is killing.
I'm gonna spend a point of luck on it.
Fantastic.
Nice.
Whether it is the fact that you are a wizard taking this picture, whether it's the fact that you took it at the moment that there was a sudden release of arcane power, or whether it was the fact that, it's narratively interesting, so that's sort of the way these things go. When you glance at the photograph, you can see, as if it's superimposed over the top, a kind of blurring. There is no roof. And you are looking straight up towards the dome. It's as if you've stared right through the ceiling that's there, and you can kind of see these blurry figures floating almost in the air. This is all that you get from a rough look, because we're going moment to moment. You can sort of examine this in more.
Exactly, and it won't have fully developed yet. That'll take a little bit longer, and I'll have a look at it later.
Just the basics.
And just pop it back in my pocket as everything goes to shit.
PC Lewis, your immediate reaction?
Just kind of freeze up, I think.
Okay.
Just stop what I'm doing so that nothing gets worse.
You kill the wereline?
Yeah, I think that's safe because, I suddenly realize, this was not a controlled situation. I've woken something up while there are people here in the store, and this was a bad idea.
Yeah, that's probably pretty sensible. Meanwhile, upstairs, on a social roll of 74, that doesn't feel very positive.
I only have 30, and I didn't skill it.
You are an angry dog, and you're definitely making noise, but in terms of communicating directly with whatever is here, wolf. Meanwhile, Pudding, 51. So you are making at least a vaguely logical, reaction. People rush forward and they see you doing something, and as a result, no one begins to immediately panic because they think that the situation is somewhat under control. At that point,
they are wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Well, as you rip the throat out of Cardboard Bluey, sending little bits of chipwood in every direction, you feel that sense of Vestigia rise again, and then the cutout was placed in front of one of those bookshelves, and all at once, as if someone has just gone behind it and gone bang, every book on it falls off all at once, plummeting straight towards you. Not a lot of hard covers here, but there's a large volume of books. Can I get I think, what was your reaction here? You can try and just weather it?
I'm not really sure how combat works.
Yeah, basically...
Dodge out of the way!
Basically, do you want to dodge or do you want to trust your armor here? This wouldn't be a full combat situation.
I'll dodge.
Okay. All right,
I'll
make a...
square up. Yeah. Ghost.
Absolutely.
Get some.
Make
a fight?
Make a dodge roll.
Is that a skill or is it fight?
Sorry.
It's
what am I talking about? Sorry,
It's a
too much
fight.
Call of
You
Cthulhu.
roll fighting.
Thank
fighting
you.
and dodge
That
are
is
the
my
same thing.
Uh,
understanding too.
Yes, appreciate it. Thanks. Make a fighting roll.
Success.
I can find the actual info where I guess I did find it.
You go scuttling backwards away. The books all tumble straight down.
I was gonna say, I don't think I'm not a defense. I'm a go for it. I was trying to like
so you burst
grab,
through.
bite, hold. So I just punch through, like I think vault through and into the bookshelf and take it down, going the other way.
I love it.
And then land in just like splayed books everywhere, and I'm just snapping at the air trying to detect anything.
I love it. I was gonna say there was a heavy presence of like when that force hit the bookshelf, it feels really like it jolted a little bit, and you can see those faint screws have loosened. When you slam into it, you've loosened them further. The bookshelf is already kind of damaged. These things aren't particularly stable. Miss Jackson starts yelling. The books tumble everywhere. Downstairs, the two of you can see those stacks of books like twitching about. One of them slides off to the side. You suddenly feel as if there's electricity in the air. Lucy, with your eyes peeled, you can spot other books in the children's area, and it's all explainable because of the, a disturbance. You jump really hard and the shelves shake elsewhere, but you can see other things are moving just a little bit. It's a sort of poltergeist picking up activity sort of thing. What are you going for? You've hit the bookshelf, but there's nothing here.
It's
Looking
here.
around.
I'm trying to get it to manifest in some way so that we can deal with it. That's what Lucy's trying to do.
Okay, that
Oh,
makes total
no.
sense.
As far as I can tell, it's here. Come and resolve your problem, or stop being a coward.
Absolutely.
You got an issue? Come get some.
I think so. I'm going to assume that you are literally just going to go and sort of
Because it seems to be being drawn out, so it seems
Yes.
to be trying to do something. So I want to see what it wants to do. If it wants to just scare us off, then why is it only going for us? Yeah, just trying to
Exactly.
go around.
So I'm assuming you're continuing more. You're barking. You're sort of continuing this disturbance that you have engaged upon, basically. rather than
I think
targeting.
I want to know what happens downstairs, kind of, because as this happens, because the moment if I'm spinning wheels, I will grab the thing and bolt. That's my go-to once
Okay.
it looks like things aren't progressing.
Understood in terms of sort of general, and Pudding is continuing to maintain that downstairs. The next action from the two of you, you've killed the Wehrlight, you've got your Polaroid.
It sounds like there's a dog who needs assistance from there.
Yep. Let's go.
Okay, if everyone's leaving, I'll just grab the poster and bolt.
Barton, you go tearing up the stairs.
I'm going to help Lucy basically, and then getting out of here. I think we don't know enough about this thing to really make a choice.
Okay, makes total sense. With your mouth full of cardboard, you go following. Miss Jackson is yelling. PC Lewis, you'll be the last person now. Pudding, I'm assuming.
Yeah,
you're
well,
following?
No,
Not gonna
I've
No, I'll be out with Lucy. Yeah.
If there's a chance that a member of the public is in danger, then that's my first priority. So just like go to the customers, go to Ms. Jackson, and
I'm not intending to
see if they
confront
are
this
in
thing
any
further,
danger.
but yeah.
So
and remove them from the
You're
danger if
dipping.
they are.
you're not coming up and being now. You're not immediately yelling, "Evacuate the building," kind of thing.
No.
No. Assessing whether we need to or not.
All right. So
I'm just assisting Lucy.
Miss Jackson is yelling. You get outside, Lucy, which means that there's immediately Miss Jackson ends up in a shouting match with Barton. A couple of the customers decide to just immediately make themselves scarce. One of them goes to hang around nearby in case they need to take a statement. Basically, all clustered around the door. As people seem to move, this aura in the air is still there, but again, invisible assailant. You don't know what you're looking at. There's nothing apart from, did that book move? Yes, you're sure it did, and maybe another one, but it's just twitching. It's very poltergeist. Pudding, did you want to add something?
Yeah. Once Lucy bolted out, if Barton is having a bit of a shout with Miss Jackson and
Oh, Lucy, Barton's going after Lucy.
okay, then whoever is talking to Miss Jackson, and I assume she's saying get out, and they're saying
Yeah.
no, but wait a second, which maybe Lewis, is that what you're doing?
Yeah, just calming the situation down.
Yeah.
If she's just shouting at the dog, then that's okay.
Yeah,
Just want to make
whose
sure
dog
that
is
she's not
that?
shouting at the at any unknown entities.
She doesn't believe in unknown entities, so I think we're good there.
Everyone, every NPC plans to now move to the front of the store and be in a cluster, shouting at the dog having made a disturbance and knocked over a shelf. In their view,
Yeah.
if anyone
That's
doesn't
fine,
want
then.
to be caught there, where are you heading otherwise?
I'll be caught there.
You'll
to
be caught
try
there.
to calm things down.
Okay.
I'd like to just kind of, while everyone's distracted, kind of move towards where some of those books are shaking very slowly, with my hands out, and just kind of go, "Hey, I don't know who you are, but you seem to be a little bit wound up and maybe a little bit scared. And when that happens for me, I really like a nice warm cup of something and something sweet to eat. So, if it's all right with you, I'm just gonna leave a bit of tea and I'll like take a little thermos out and I'll like unscrew the top a little so some of the steam comes out and leave it and take the banana bread that I maybe like have taken a chunk out of, but that's it. And just kind of like put that down like near, just like slightly out of the way, like kind of next to one of the bookshelves. I'm just gonna put it there and go, I don't mean to offend you or worry you, but just in case that would help. And now I'm gonna leave, and hopefully that's okay.
Okay. Perfect.
And just kind of, I guess, genuinely go, I am gonna try calming the situation, because if this really is a child or something, it could just be scared. I could be very wrong. And I'm fine with I'm wrong, but I'm gonna start on the assumption. Pudding is an assume best intentions person.
Yep.
Up until the point that people are clear that they don't have good intentions, and then Pudding becomes a very angry, violent storm of no. But for now, Pudding's in there like, I just want to make sure that you're okay. Warm, friendly, okay, bye.
Oh, yeah, totally makes sense. So I'll get a social roll from you. I'll get a social roll, Patrick Lewis, if you're going to get caught.
Yeah.
Social roll for bonus die. These are law-abiding citizens. Barton,
Thank you.
You are sort of caught here,
Yep.
and with Lucy, the two of you, like PC Lewis has sort of stepped in to diffuse the situation. If the two of you want to take any additional action, you could think about, Lucy, if you want, sprinting around the back and getting in through that window. You know that you'd be able to just come right back in
Fucking
if you
dog
want.
back in the building.
He just gets back in.
No. I've caused enough trouble here. And it didn't manifest, so I was unsuccessful. So no. I'll probably go to see if I can get tabs on old mate. See if he's dipped.
Okay, well, hold on one second, because there's still something that might happen here. Barton?
Sticking with Lucy, I think.
Okay. Mostly need
Okay.
to establish...
This seems like a bad time to be for the dog to be flying solo.
Very sensible. I need get the resolution of the people's roles very quickly now. So
Mine is
Dang it.
just reminding everyone what we roll.
D100s.
I would a hard help here.
That's a D10.
Yeah, because I got a bonus die. I know what I'm doing.
okay.
Professional.
I was
Thank you
so
very much.
sorry.
Very funny.
I was
a
really excited about that.
hard
damn.
would definitely help here.
Then you may have 9 points of luck, so my 39 becomes a 30 because my social is 60.
Okay, perfect. So everyone's placed where they are. You're standing at in like kind of the center, looking towards the children's book section. A collection of you are on the outside. When all at once, all hell breaks loose inside the building. You've just, with your final roll, Patrick Lewis, managed to sort of be like, I'm so sorry, you know, look, you already needed to get some things organized downstairs. We're going to help with this. Everything's going to be okay. When behind you, you get this wash massively of that same Vestigia, more detail this time. You get more of that screaming, more of that beer coming through, and then you hear crashing. From your perspective, Pudding, every book in the entire bookstore begins to launch off its shelves. Downstairs, they go flinging around the room. You can see them bouncing up the stairs and hear this thumping. Upstairs, they begin whipping across at top speed, slamming into everything. Volumes destroyed, battered, and broken.
Are any of them coming at me?
So, with a regular success on a social roll, basically, you got I know you got a higher level than that. But with regular success, it would have been just a little kind of bullet arc around you, so to speak. They do seem to avoid you. You really think you might have gotten through to this thing. You felt an almost kindred connection to it. And actually, with your hard success, this is when you realize, therein lies the problem. Suddenly, you remember way back to your early childhood, the times when you spent a few moments with some of the older members of your family, some of them who might be, quite a lot older, creatures that weren't, as you are to humans, they were to you, one step closer into the demi-monde. And you get that same sense, just for a second here, the sense of possibly something very old, but childlike, as you described, and it perceives you as a direct threat. This is territorial. You're where you shouldn't be. The books don't hit you, but they go nuts, slamming into everything, and a huge wave of them comes towards the glass-fronted window of the bookstore. The final, we'll end the session in just a second, but final moment, there are a lot of sort of bystanders out here, and you all get a second to see this wave of books coming that is surely going to like smash open the glass and send people flying.
Unless there's a shield in the way.
Great idea. Fantastic. Okay, so you can cast shield. The other two, Lucy, Barton, you want to tackle people to the ground or just get yourselves out of the way by any chance?
Seeing the wave of books coming, Lucy's gonna continue to go for scary dog, but the intent is to get people out of the bookstore and to safety. But I have I don't need to be seen as I'll look rabid to do it, It's just I'm the scarier thing. Get the fuck out.
You're just relying totally
and I'll try and chase them out down the street.
Completely.
I'm just going to put myself between any particularly small or fragile looking people and books.
That makes sense to me. So I guess from this, I would think an athletics check from you, Barton, and I would just say, I could see a
Constitution.
If you're literally just planting yourself and being like,
I'm literally
damage,
just using my bot. I'm human shielding.
Okay.
Oh yeah, no.
You're gonna be in the way. There's no roll needed.
Yes.
I'll jump to you in a second. Pudding, just first of all, Lucy. I really think this is social again. Unfortunately,
it is. I could maybe I just pitch it as athletics more. I'm just getting in the way of the books. I'm continuing to go bork bork bork. I'm a big dog as I'm doing it. And I'll similar to Barton. Then I'll just play defense.
Fantastic. Okay, athletics check from you then, Lucy. Barton, you are just planting. It's not an athletics check. You're just there. You step in front of someone. Pudding.
I'm just there. I'm big.
I'm annoyed because I tried to be nice, and this thing threw books at people that I like. I'm a stamp on the ground and incinerate all of the books next to my friends.
Ooh, okay. All right.
Just instant immolation. The books just turn into ash. I am angry, and I'm like, no.
Oh, fantastic. Okay.
And I will give you 20 points of luck to do a big thing, please.
All right, brilliant. I absolutely love it. So, not only is there going to be a smashing of books, there's also going to be a smashing of flame. Miss Jackson's poor store.
Very specifically, it's just the books around that are aiming for the people that I care about. So essentially, I want to avoid them needing to make athletics checks at all, because anything that hits them is just they get a face full of ash because I've gone no.
I like that. What I'll do is basically factor that in as an expenditure to boost everything else as well, because there are a lot of NPCs here. This is really sort of the bomb goes off in the store. Can you tackle everyone out of the way at the last second, or shield it? So, PC Lewis, I will get you to make a magic check because I do not believe you have shield mastered.
I don't have shield mastered. I'm also just trying to figure out. I think I can only cast it in front of my body. I'm looking for. There might be an extra spell or something. Maybe I need an extra form to actually move the shield, like cast the shield over there.
In the spirit of narrative climax, I'm happy to continue as with it being here, Fantastic. And we will resolve the exact mechanics for it next time.
Excellent. Well, in that case, yes, one magic roll coming up. If I can find that, here it comes. Bam! My magic skill is 60, so 6 points of luck coming your way.
6 points of luck coming my way. Okay, so technically, this would be an opposed strength versus power roll. if you're basically trying to wrestle, which is what happens if someone's using Cinderer to hold something and someone else is using Impello. You're trying to hold back all of this glass and stuff as stuff smashes into it.
Oh, I mean, yeah, I think I'm gonna have to like run in there. And just,
I totally see it, but with the combination of the flames burning, like sort of blasting the books away, you run in. There is a very muted crash. If you can picture that front glass of a building smashing open in a dramatic scene, it kind of goes to like 20 centimeters out, and then all in a huff pops through as you arrive and kind of rush forward, and in a second it's split up as Barton and Lucy dive into the front. Surely, Lucy, you just went wild because you had detected an earthquake or something. Will that fly? Maybe. Let's see. But we'll have to do that next week because we'll resolve things there for now.
Hooray!
Hooray!
Yeah.
Fight this ghost.
I'm just gonna say, like, Pudding literally just stamps their foot and, like, their hair kind of goes a slightly brighter shade of red and books just start popping.
I think as soon as the hair goes red, the Barton's just like, oh.
Yeah, I'm annoyed. My eyes go more yellow and brighter and shinier than they should ever have any right to be, and I go, no!
Hey, Demimonde on Demimonde.
Damn.
I love it. Yes, very
I'm
reasonable.
assuming that is an okay. That's 20 points, Jim.
Mhm.
That one is because it's meant to be anything I could achieve that's big or a hard success.
Big and
So-
flashy.
Grande.
No, I love it. I love it. Fantastic. That's great. We will immediately pick up next week.
Yay, mid-combat.
As we go to dive for that. Thank you to Roll20 and thank you to Sirenscape. And thank you to all of you for watching us play more Rivers of London. You can pick up from chaosium.com, from your friendly little game store. Thanks, Art. Thanks, Jackson. Thanks, Dave. Thanks, Alex.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you for keeping Jim.
No worries. Bye all.
Thanks,
we will
chat.
catch you all. Yes, thanks, chat. And we will catch you all next time. Thanks.